This is an explanation of how to turn term bases into translation memories. The issue that we're trying to solve is the following. We have a file with machine translation enabled where the information in the term base is more reliable than the information in the machine translation engine. And so we want to make sure that this information is available to us here in the translation results. Since the term-based information will never be inserted automatically here in the segment, if we want to make use of that for automatic insertion here, we would need to turn the term base into a translation memory, add the translation memory to the project, and that would take precedence over the machine translation engine. To do that, we're going to use the Glossary Converter, which is an app that you can download from the App Store. It's free. And all you need to do once you have the Glossary Converter open is go to the folder where you have the term base stored, take the term base, drag and drop it onto the Glossary Converter, and wait for the Glossary Converter to work its magic. And once it's done, it will have exported your glossary from an SDL term-based file format into an Excel file. So now this Excel file, we're going to open it in Studio, and I'm assuming here that if you have several term bases, you will first do this for the various term bases before you add them. In fact, you know what? Well, no. Before you add them to your project. So you could end up with several Excel files here. So I'm going to go back to Studio now, and I'm going to go to Projects, create a new project, and I'm going to call this project term-based to TM. And we're going to, yeah, that's good. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to add the file that we have just converted, this one, add it here. And so that's the Excel file that we're going to add there. And we're just going to go to the very end here, and we're going to go into all project settings and make sure that we have the bilingual Excel file type enabled for this project. And there's because these file type filters will take precedence. The first one will be used to convert the file. In this case, the regular Excel filter appears first, so we either disable that, because if we don't, then that will be used for the conversion, and we don't want that. We want the bilingual Excel file type so that the two columns with the source term and the target term will be extracted correctly. We either disable this filter, or we take the bilingual Excel filter and we move it up so that it appears before the Excel filter. We do that, and we can preview the file and see if we are getting what we will be getting what we need. So we're going to do that, and there it is, and that's good. So I'm going to say okay, and then just finish and close. And now that we have this project created, we could easily add new files to it as we come across them. So now we will open the file here. And this is the term base that the Excel file that was converted from the term base that we were looking at in the other project earlier. And you can see here, this is the term that we were actually looking at. So in order to add that to a TM, I'm going to, these are all not translated, so I'm going to select them all by clicking here, and I'm going to right click here and change the segment status to translated. I'm going to go to project settings and create a term base. Sorry, not a term base, a translation memory. And the translation memory is going to be called just anything you want to call it, but I'm going to call it from term bases, and it's stored in my translation memories folder. And just finish. And the translation memory is empty now, but I want to add these to it, all of this. So I'm just going to save the file and run a batch task. I'm in the Home tab view. Go to the batch tasks and do an update main translation memories. And by doing this, by running this batch task, all of that information is going to be saved in the or committed to the translation memory. So I'm just going to say finish, close. Do I want to reopen the file? No, not really. I want to go back to the file I was working on earlier, which is the file where I had the issue that I mentioned earlier. So now I'm going to go to project settings here in this project where I was working, and I'm going to add, sorry, I have the wrong, I need to make sure that I have this project active. So I want to go here, double click there, and then project settings. And right now all I have is the Google Cloud Machine Translation Engine active there. So I'm going to use the translation memory I just created a moment ago. So I'm going to go to my folder where I store all my memories, and here I have one. And so I'm going to just bring it up there and say okay. And when I go back to the file, so I have now added that right to the project settings. Now I have that translation memory I just created added to it. And so if I remove this, which came originally from the machine translation, and now I go into the segment and I get this, but it's not coming from here, from the term base, it's coming from the translation memory where I just added that information by converting the term base into the translation memory. And so that's how that can be achieved.